The Kenise and Marc Show. The Kenise and Marc Show. Make sure you tune into the Kenise and Marc Show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Kenise and Marc Show. Are you still here? Are you ever gonna go home?
I'm leaving.
I am Kenise, and this is my wonderful friend of, she's older than me. So over 40, she's over 40. I'm not over 40 as yet. I'm not even 40 yet. But Vanessa, Persaud, Robert, thank you so much again for joining us on the Kenise and Marc Show, all about relationships.
Thanks for reminding me what show I'm on.
And we also
old
have
age.
one more time, probably the last time, because Mark is trying to get himself better with his throat. He's been still coughing. Have you taken care of him?
Yeah, I told him what to do. The honey,
Okay.
the warm.
Yeah, we really want him to feel better. So send your love, send your hearts to Mark, and tell him how much you love. But he's here in spirit. This is Mark, represents Mark. Good boy. Stay right here. Today we're going to touch on part 1 because Mark is going to join us for part 2 on the topic of how do I allow myself to trust again. Whew. Rebuilding trust. I think for me, let's start out with defining the word trust. You know, we throw it around so loosely. Trust, you trust me, do you trust me, I trust you, whatever, or just trust me. When I think of the word trust, I think I'm putting away all of my inhibitions, and because if we're standing up and like we're both facing in one direction, and I trust the fact that you would catch me when I fall, all of my fear, all of my inhibitions, because I know that you love me and you care for me and you will catch me. That's what I feel trust is, that I remove my inhibitions, my fears, and I solely trust and believe that rely in the ability of you being able to catch me when I fall.
It's confidence in
The person.
confidence in the relationship,
Mm-hmm.
confidence in what he or she has spoken, what they're doing. It's like whenever you go to sit in your living room or lie on your bed, you don't check it. Is the legs gonna hold me? You just sit. Because you have confidence, you trust.
You have a belief that this chair can hold you. Well, this chair, we had to reinforce this chair, just letting you guys know. But this is a perfect example that she trusts the fact that this chair, after how many episodes have we done together?
Are you trusting the fact that you're going to get home safely tonight?
I do. I trust the fact. So when we talk about rebuilding this trust, how do I allow myself to trust again?
We're talking about the person that was.
So we're saying that I have been hurt, and
I'm the receiver of the the break of the relationship or whatever.
and I want to be able to trust again. So what do
I?
Do I? That's the first question, Vanny. I think you
so
have
much.
to ask. So go ahead. So go ahead to that point.
That's the process. The process is, am I willing to make the steps, the necessary steps, to move this thing forward in forgiveness, so I can rebuild that trust? Because at the end of it all, when I get upset and you touch that point or that trigger in me, and I start shouting, "Well, you did," I'm not rebuilding trust. I'm holding on to the hurt. So my first question is, am I willing to trust again?
So you're saying that it starts in me. It's something
It's an internal thing.
So it has to be a decision I first make. So if
Yes.
somebody hurts me and I want to work on rebuilding this trust in this person, this belief, this confidence in this person, it starts with my mind first before I can verbalize it.
Yes.
Okay? That could be very difficult. That is very difficult because sometimes my mind says one thing and sometimes my heart says something else. So with that being said, I feel it's important that when you're building this confidence, especially in a relationship, that you must be able to speak from what does the Bible says? The Bible says that the matters of the heart, that's what comes out of your mouth. I know I've struggled with trust with my relationship in the past. And I think in a couple of shows, Vanny, I think Mark was here when I said that in a couple of shows. Trust is like this glass, you know, it's just, you could see it, that it's whole, you know, it's perfectly fine. When it's shattered, right, and you put it together, you could still see that even though it looks like a glass again, you could see that there were scars left. I have here that with trust is like air. We see it only when it's polluted.
Really?
That's a deep thought.
Like the fog.
It's like the fog. So we want to come back from commercial and we want to talk. I mean, this is really close, dear and near to my heart.
To every woman's heart.
And that's why we want to broach this subject in this part one. So when we come back from commercial, we want to talk a little bit more about more physical things that we can do, practical things that we can do in regards to helping ourselves after we've come to now this conclusion in our minds that, you know, I'm willing to move forward in trusting this person. So we'll be right back.
The Kenise and Marc Show. The Kenise and Marc Show. Make sure you tune into the Kenise and Marc Show. The Kenise and Marc Show. The Kenise and Marc Show. Make sure you tune into the Kenise and Marc Show.
We are talking about how do I allow myself to trust again. So we're saying that somebody has broken the trust and I need to work on rebuild. Do I want to allow myself to rebuild the trust? You know, Vanny, you talked about
making that decision, that conscious decision. Do I want to do it?
Mm-hmm.
And once I've made that conscious decision, then I have
here.
Yeah, it's all an internal fight. There's a song that recently I was privy to that talks about, you know, praying in that fight, so that you get the victory. You know, you got to fight for what you want, but you have to decide, is it what I want? Am I gonna say I want it today, but then bring it back to the person's remembrance tomorrow? Right. That's not me wanting it.
So it's a deliberate decision that I'm making.
Consciousness, you're conscious.
And I feel with trust, it's something that when you want to try to allow yourself to rebuild this trust, it's something where it's an internal healing must take place. Mm-hmm. You're a nurse, Vanny, so tell me, you know, when sometimes you have something like internal damage in or you have like an incision where it has to heal from the inside out. It's just not like a regular cut. Mm-hmm. I mean, talk a little bit
more. But that's what it is, a regular cut even. That's how the body works. It heals from inside out. And I think God did that purposely to show us a pattern, that it's not about the mask that we wear when we're smiling and saying everything's okay, but inside you're like, go to. But it's the internal thing. So it's an internal battle. I recently had a surgical procedure done, and the doctor told me, even though I'm back at work after 6 weeks, he says it'll take you 6 months for everything inside to really go back to where that baseline was, the healing and all of that. You might see healing outside for the outward wound,
but it still hasn't healed on the inside.
And it needs time.
Right.
And
but during that time, is it still sensitive?
Very sensitive and numbing. There's still anesthetic feelings, because I told him, I said, sometimes I touch my belly, and I if I didn't touch it, I don't think it's there, because it has that numbing feeling. It's just like that break in trust. You get numb.
Right.
You're like, you don't know what to do. Because you love the person, you want to just go back to normal and trust again.
Right.
But there's always that doubt in the back of your head, and you're talking to yourself like a schizophrenic. And you're like, why would you trust this person when they did this to you? You have to now have another voice that comes and said, yo,
don't be afraid.
It's fine. It's like the cartoon. You know, my Bugs Bunny cartoons, I love them. Where you have the good bunny and the devil bunny, the angel and the devil. Is the angel and the devil on your shoulder, and you have to decide which one you want to have the greater voice
to listen to.
Yeah.
I agree with that. So, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, trust. If you want to allow yourself to trust again, it's so important that you
answer that first question.
Answer the question in yourself and know for a fact that are you willing to be genuine, because it comes with forgiveness. And you know, Mark and I are a huge proponent about on forgiveness. Mark wrote a whole song about forgiveness. It's something that brought us together, our friendship together, and probably kind of the foundation that led us to this show, all about relationships. Because as we go through different relationships in our life, it's not only marital trust, but it's also trusting your children trusting you. Also friendships, you know, whether you have girlfriends or guy friends or just like your pals or your buddies. Trust across the board. I mean, some of us go to work, we trust our employer that our employer is going to keep us employed, you know,
and pay us fairly, you know.
Correct. So trust is something, but from a marital relationship standpoint, it's so deep. And it could crush you, it can make you, it could break you. And like this glass, I mean, I think with trust also, I have tried over my years and my experience, because this show is based on our experiences and what we have gone through to help the viewers out there, because we're not geniuses at this, and we're all learning like everybody else. But trust is so important that you want to make sure that in your mind you come to the place where you're willing to trust again and allowing yourself to trust again. You're forgiving, and then you're letting that internal healing happen. That internal healing that only you could have start inside of you is that internal healing. And you want to join, like Mark and I, and I'm sure Vanessa, you are a big proponent of it. Seek counseling. You know, look to some people that you can talk to about helping you and encouraging you to try to work on building that trust up in yourself. Is there anything else, Vanny, that you would like to add?
I can say it even, you know, more than I have, but the whole process begins with you consciously, intentionally deciding, do I want this or don't I want this?
Right.
If you want it, know this, there will be consequences. There will be those moments of weaknesses.
Yes.
There will be that time that you're going to second guess what you decided, but you have to look beyond that. So for me, allowing for the rebuilding of trust, the key is deciding.
For yourself. Yeah.
Make the decision.
For you.
Yeah.
Because it'll only help you. Trust. It's very important. So Vanny, I think this is the end.
Oh.
For us. I hope that Mark will be back in our next episode, hopefully. But you, I'm sure, will be back in our next episode to continue the conversation. We're going to be continuing part 2 of trust. So I hope you guys can join us. We want you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Definitely like us on Facebook. Send us your comments. We love hearing from you. And please share this video. This is a very touchy topic, and it's something that we love to share with your friends and your family that may be going through a difficult time. So we're here for you. So thanks again, Vanessa, for joining us.
My pleasure.
The Kenise and Marc Show. I am Kenise, and you've been such a good boy, Mark. We love you guys.
The Kenise and Marc Show.